I'm Charlotte Owen and I'm a policy officer. I'm really lucky that I have a very, very varied role, so it does differ a lot day to day, which is really, really great. So I focus on heat decarbonisation policy, but primarily I look at heat networks. So what that involves day to day is a lot of sort of having to increase my knowledge and understanding of the sector. So I undertake a lot of research, I go and engage with lots of stakeholders from industries, and a lot of what I do as well is public speaking, so going out and sharing the ADE's perspective on current policy, so sort of increasing that conversation and ensuring that everyone across the industry sort of knows what's going on. Back when I was at school, I didn't take a route in science. I didn't sort of take any science A-levels. I very much went down the humanities route, and then I studied politics at university. And it wasn't until I got to university that I really started considering a career in energy. So I took a module in energy policy, but to be honest, I'd always thought you'd need that background in science or engineering, and I always thought that I was potentially locked out of a career in energy. Yeah, so I think the best thing about working in the sector for me is has been realising that actually there is this massive decarbonisation ambition that is reflected across the sector and across industry. I think when you're an outsider looking into the sector, it's harder to sort of recognise that actually those conversations are happening because you're not necessarily a part of them. I can't go a single meeting without somebody bringing up carbon and saying, what are we going to do to decarbonise the energy sector? And I think that for me has been really valuable. I find that as a woman in the sector, I often find that I am in a minority in the room, and for me, especially at the start of my career when I first came into this sector, having the confidence to actually speak up in those situations and to actually voice my opinions and make sure that they were heard was something that I quite struggled with. But I think, it's so important that we actually make sure that we're hearing from the views of people who are women, who are BME, who are LGBTQ, who may have disabilities, because ultimately we don't have the answer to how we're going to decarbonise our energy system yet, and it can only be a good thing to ensure that we are hearing from all those views across the sector, from people who come from all these different backgrounds. And I think for me, it's been finding the confidence to actually start speaking up, because the more that people do, the more that other people feel confident to speak up in these situations as well. My advice would be that you don't know every single job out there in the energy sector. The sector is so diverse, and there are so many different roles that you've never even thought of, that you had no clue existed, and that they might be the perfect fit for you. The energy sector isn't all just people who are engineers, it's not all just people who have a science background. There are people who work in planning, there are people who work in communicating with stakeholders, there are people who, like myself, who work in policy, and the energy sector really is a great opportunity for everyone to find their fit. And I would just say, make sure you do some research, go out and engage with the energy industry, go to networking events and ask lots of questions, because there are so many opportunities across the sector that you can make use of. So I think probably the most interesting project that I've been involved in to date is the work that we're currently doing at the moment around sort of looking to quantify and qualify the role of thermal storage in the energy system. So what we're trying to do is look at how thermal storage enables particularly heat networks to participate in broader energy system flexibility. So the idea of thermal storage is that it enables you to decouple generation from demand, and what that really allows is for you to use your generation flexibly.